Our textile consumption has reached extreme levels due to the large exponential supply of garments that are offered on a daily basis through the fast fashion industry. Massive and fast textile production not only allows for excessive consumption in society, but also creates a chain of contamination in our environment. The textile industry includes thousands of production and manufacturing plants worldwide, with fossil fuels dominating the energy supply. It also emits more greenhouse gases as a result of the excessive use of trillions of liters of water for cotton cultivation and garment dyeing. A pair of jeans is estimated to use 3,700 to 7,000 liters of water. In addition, chemicals are used at almost every stage of the textile supply chain as hydrogen peroxide and sulfuric acid, among other polluting elements for the environment. Raising awareness on climate change mitigation, adaptation, impact reduction, and early intervention is critical for both humans and institutional entities. For all of this, it is critical that the secondhand clothing industry continues to grow as an important ally in the fight against environmental pollution. Secondhand clothing reduces the pollution caused by the textile industry by recirculating, reusing, and recycling already manufactured products. And it is for this reason that Garson & Shaw supports the United Nations Agenda for Climate Action by raising awareness and taking action to protect our planet. A 10% increase in secondhand clothing sales could reduce carbon emissions per ton of clothing by 3% and water use by 4%.
With the amount of clothes that are being discarded in the US today and our growth plans, we will generate a whole lot of jobs by reusing that material. So this is an important benefit of reusing. In terms of the environment, the main fact to understand is that the production of clothes and shoes is very resource intensive. Most clothes today contain artificial fibers like polyester. They are made from petroleum, which is energy intensive to extract and pollutes a lot. But even the natural fibers that make up the rest of the clothing are also no less polluting and energy intensive. So cotton requires a lot of water, a lot of pesticides, a lot of herbicides and fertilizer to grow. And then you have all the processes that are required to actually make clothing from the raw material. Production of clothes is very energy intensive and requires both a lot of resources and generates a lot of pollution and waste, including about 25% of industrial wastewater is from the textile industry. It's estimated that the textile industry today contributes somewhere around 10% of global carbon emissions. To break this down in practical terms, every time you fill one of our tree machines, one of our collection bins, with clothes and shoes, you are clothing approximately 10 people. That means that 10 people don't have to go and buy new clothes. That means that you are saving about 7,500 pounds of CO2 emissions that would otherwise contribute to climate change and global warming. Comparing textiles to other commonly recycled materials, we find that textiles produce more significant savings of CO2 emissions than other materials. Paper, you will save about 2 pounds of CO2 for every pound that you recycle. Plastics, the number is about 4 pounds. For textiles, the number is 15 pounds. And this is because it is so resource intensive to produce the clothing in the first place. And even though it requires some carbon emissions to collect the clothes and to ship it to an area where it can be reused, this is only 2.5% of the emissions that would be generated if you instead produced new clothes and ship them to the same location.
Siempre hemos buscado cómo le agregamos valor al producto de segunda mano. Tenemos talleres de costura, tenemos talleres de reparación de juguetes, tenemos talleres de reparación de videojuegos, reparación de aparatos electrodomésticos, reparación de computadoras, y básicamente lo que nosotros buscamos en el fondo es ser una gran empresa recicladora que venimos y lo que se puede reusar, lo reusamos. Lo que podemos reciclar, lo reciclamos. Y lo que no podemos ni reusar ni reciclar, pues lo reducimos. Y básicamente esa es la forma como creo que nosotros ayudamos a nuestro planeta a tener un mejor lugar para las generaciones futuras. Todo lo que tuvo que ver con un textil un día nuevo, que el primer propietario lo dejó de usar, nosotros le agregamos valor, lo vendemos, pero nuestro principal objetivo es cómo dejamos un mejor planeta, cómo tratamos de usar todos estos textiles y darles una segunda, una tercera o una cuarta oportunidad. Hacemos fibras no tejidas, agarramos todos los textiles que no hubo forma de venderlos como una pieza, un textil entero, lo picamos en unas máquinas, hacemos retazos. Estos retazos los metemos a otra máquina que rasga la ropa y la convierte en fibras. Agregamos unos productos que se llaman polipropileno y bicomponente. Pudiéramos decir que del 100% de la receta, estos productos son el 4 o 5%, pero el 95% de la receta es la ropa que nosotros volvimos fibras, y con esto hacemos productos que sirven para la industria colchonera. Hacemos aglomerados que sirven como esponja, que sirven en la fabricación de camas. También muchas prendas que ya no podemos arreglarlas como eran originalmente, las transformamos y utilizamos sus componentes para crear nuevas prendas, que es nuestra propia moda, y básicamente eso es lo que buscamos hacer, y cómo evitamos que los textiles lleguen a los basureros y contaminen nuestro planeta.
Para nosotros, obviamente aparte del negocio, es el tema de reutilizar la ropa, que es una ayuda para el medio ambiente. Entonces nosotros con nuestros colaboradores trabajamos en la parte de enseñarle un poco a todos los que están con nosotros que reutilizamos para reducir la contaminación en el medio ambiente. Entonces gran parte del trabajo es tratar de aprovechar al máximo todo lo que conseguimos para que podamos contribuir lo más que podamos a la reducción de la contaminación al medio ambiente. Algunas de las personas sí tienen la noción y el conocimiento sobre reutilizar y minimizar todos los químicos y el agua que se utiliza. Sin embargo, también para muchos los precios son muy económicos a comparación de una prenda nueva en el mercado. Entonces, para los que no tienen esa noción, por lo menos lo hacen para su economía. Prefieren comprar una prenda para ayudar al medio ambiente que saber que compraron una prenda y van a tener toda esa contaminación en el medio ambiente. La razón principal por la que yo invitaría a la gente, o por la que yo invito a la gente que compre ropa usada, es porque hoy día sabemos que una de las partes más grandes de la destrucción de nuestro planeta es la contaminación, y la creación de cada prenda de ropa nueva es alta la contaminación que tiene en el medio ambiente. Esa sería la razón principal por la que yo diría compren ropa utilizada, ropa de segunda, porque ayudamos mucho al medio ambiente y aparte ayudamos a la economía de cada una de las personas que compran.
Undoubtedly, the reuse and recycling of secondhand clothing contributes significantly to reducing the negative impacts on the environment. Increasing the life of a garment for an additional 9 months removes its negative environmental impact by 20 to 30% compared to buying a new one. Consumers of secondhand clothing help reduce the 10% of the world's carbon emissions per year that are produced by the fast fashion industry. For example, reusing a single cotton shirt instead of buying a new one means reducing the amount of emissions produced by driving a car for 35 miles. The textile production process requires massive amounts of water. Approximately 2,700 liters of water are needed to make a cotton t-shirt. Reusing and recycling textiles makes better use of water as a vastly needed drinking resource, instead of ending up as industrial waste.
Creo que mi mensaje va dirigido más a la industria textil, a los productores de ropa, que nosotros los procesadores de la ropa usada somos unos aliados, no somos competencia, que buscamos cómo evitar que los textiles paren contaminando los campos, los ríos, los lagos o nuestros océanos. Creo que los textiles, luego de terminar su vida útil como ropa, podemos aprovecharlos para otras industrias.
We all know that the estimation of unwanted clothing that still ends in the landfills in the US is more than 70%. So we need to encourage people to donate more and help people in other countries to dress by the use of new process and technology for recycle and transform and give another use to a specific garment. We as an industry can become 100% circular.
When we reuse something, we are basically caring for and extending the life of that product. This is something that requires time and it expresses a need for human beings. It takes human beings to collect the product, to sort it, process it, to ship it and resell it so it can be reused. This means that you actually contribute a lot to society by reusing something, because you generate a lot of jobs. For example, the Institute for Local Self-Reliance issued a report some years ago that said that in general the recycling industry generates 10 times more jobs than the waste, landfilling, incineration of the same material. But for textiles, the number is actually 85 times. The textile reuse industry that we are a part of is generating 85 times more jobs per ton that we collect than would be generated if the material was landfilled or incinerated. So in practice, what this means is every time we place a clothing drop spot at the shopping mall, we are generating one new job.
Planet Earth needs our help. For decades, we have consumed natural resources as if they had no limit. It is time to rethink our way of living. We need to consume responsibly and consciously for the environment. It is time to reuse, recycle, and promote the daily care of our resources. Taking climate action is still possible. With increased investment and using existing technology, we can limit the projected increase to a global mean temperature of 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, aiming at 1.5 degrees Celsius. But this requires urgent, in serious collective action. Secondhand clothing gives us an opportunity to reduce the negative impacts on the planet by minimizing disposal through reuse and recycling, and by reducing the production of textiles.
I believe it's very important that we shift our consumption to consume more reused stuff like clothes and shoes, because it requires so much resources to create new stuff. And we live on a planet with finite resources. And we cannot run a linear system on a planet with finite resources. We have to economize with what we have. We have to extend the life of our products. This is not just a question of saving money, it's a question of also doing what's right for future generations and to keep our planet livable for the foreseeable future.
Secondhand clothing is one way to help us continue to enjoy the beauty of our planet, our home. In the end, there is no planet B.